What's
Good
up,
evening, everyone.
man?
Welcome to the Sports Corner with the Comment. Hey, what's up, my brother? Good evening,
What's
everyone. Welcome to the
up,
Sports Corner. you know how we do it. First, I want to invite y'all for coming on my show. I'm waiting on my co-host Mike Semiao, who should be on in a few minutes. Yes, sir. But anyway, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I have as my special guest my man, Rick Reese. We go back now, Rick. My mathematical skills are not that good, but I think it's over 40 years, if I'm correct. Now, folks, for those of you who do not know who Rick is, let me just give you a little something, something. Rick, founder at Global Expansion Team, founder at Better World Changes Marketplace Ministries, founder and director of online travel business at Surge 365, community catalyst, faithful member at Gideon's International, former military officer at United States Air Force. Now we really gonna get former software development, okay, project manager, studied plastic engineering at UMass Lowell, studied project management at Colorado Technical University, studied procurement supply chain management at Webster University. Now, Rick, as you know, this is a sports show, but because of the fact that my producer, they know I'm off the hook, but they give me the platform to do more than that. I want to diversify and let this sports be more of just a sports show, shows that can make an impact. And you definitely have made an impact, and that's why I wanted you on the show. So, Rick, before we go any further, I want you to tell folks a little bit about yourself. And no, Rick, when I have guests on my show, what I like to do is have them talk about their grind, talk about their journey. So, you know something? I'm gonna sit back and chill, and let's let you do your thing.
Well, I'm just pleased to be here because we go way back. We go back to Chancery Street.
Yes.
and all the talks that we had
Yes.
on Chancery Street
Oh, yes.
when you was tearing it up with the crossover at Stanley. And you was the youngest guy among all the older folks taking them to the hoop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Taking them to the hoop. And you was a young man doing that as a young man. And one conversation I remember.
Okay.
And I says, Michael Conn, time goes by so fast that we are the younger people now. And before we know it, we're going to be part of the older crowd.
Yes, yes, yes.
So to see your maturity, your progression warms my heart.
Well, thank you, my brother. And same goes back to you, 6'11". Folks, we call each other 6'11" for folks who don't know, because we were born on June 11th. So we call each other 6'11", so don't mind us.
Mike!
Now, hold on a minute. Hold up. Now, Rick, let me tell you something. I got my co-host here, Mike Semiao, who went to Holy Family as well.
Oh, yeah.
And now,
we graduated Holy Family High School in
yes,
the
sir.
house.
and Rick, let me tell you something. Sometimes, Rick, I kind of go to United Front. You know what I'm trying to say? But Mike keeps me in check. He keeps me in check and keeps me solid. So I'm glad to have him as my co-host. He's awesome. Welcome to the show, my co-host, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to see you, Michael. Good to see you, Rick.
Yeah. Hey, this is old home week for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm so honored to have you on the show because I know how busy you are and what you're doing. And I want folks to know how it all started. Now, I know facts. I know your dad was, God bless us, was a big influence in your life and what you're doing. If you wanted to talk about that or how it got you started to doing what you do from the beginning.
Well, my father was a Special Forces Green Beret, but he grew up in the generation where they said if you wanted to have a wife, they would issue you one. So
Wow.
greatest husband, but he was an influence, from a Green Beret military perspective. And that's probably why I went into the Air Force, because I had a front row seat of what they do in the Army.
Right. Do that. Yes, absolutely.
But,
Absolutely.
you mentioned United Front and being
Yes.
in New Bedford, and growing up, on Morgan Street. We used to do parties on Morgan Street. I don't know, at that time I didn't know you, and it was an older generation that listens to the show that knows that we used to do parties
Uh-huh.
on Morgan Street and in the neighborhood. But I grew up United Front.
Yes, you did.
Basketball, United Front, and went to Keith Junior High and was part of the Black Wave
Mm-hmm.
that went to Holy Family.
Yes.
So I was selected along with some other folks when they were bringing Black folks to Holy Family to play sports.
No, hold up.
So I was part of
Let
that.
me interrupt you. What do you mean selected? We mean selected. I don't know about that. What do you mean selected?
Because I had the crossover. Still do.
I know that. I know that.
Mostly
I
in my
know that.
mind now, but but they chose to bring some Black players to Holy Family High School. And so I was at Holy Family on scholarship.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Nobody knows. Father D.
Yes. God bless. Oh man.
Soul.
Wow. Mm-mm-mm.
West End icon.
Yes.
He rescued us.
Oh yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Not just from New Bedford High,
Uh-huh.
but he rescued us from
Yes.
the streets.
Yes.
As hard as it is to break out,
Mm-hmm.
and selected us to come to Holy Family because we couldn't afford the tuition
Right.
on scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was part of what we called the Black Wave.
I hear you. Hey, it was a wave too.
Probably news
It
to
was
Mike.
a wave.
It was the Black Wave that came to Holy Family to play basketball. And several of us came and was on scholarship to play ball at Holy Family High School. That changed the trajectory of my life because wasn't very many options for us in the West End.
Nope.
And it was so easy. See, you went to Stang also. It was kind of that kind of change.
Yes.
Because, nothing wrong with New Bedford High, but Keith, my counselor at Keith said, plan on getting a trade and not going to college in the ninth grade.
Wow.
8th grade. Plan on getting a trade and not going to college. That was the counselor telling me. And then, of course, we were recruited to go to Holy Family High School, where you better graduate.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a graduating class of 60 some odd people. And I really still wasn't sold on school. I was into sports and really wasn't sold on education. But that was the change in my life because everybody goes to college. Everybody graduates. And so I said, well, I was walking by the counselor's office, Holy Family High School, and I saw a poster up, engineers, $24,000 a year.
Wow.
Man, I want to be an engineer. But we didn't have any role models.
None.
The engineer was the guy that goes choo choo on the train.
Who that?
I didn't know yes. Engineer was a profession necessarily, and much less we didn't have no examples. We didn't have no examples at all. And but I said I want to go, and I said I'm going to go to MIT. And Gordon Ribeiro,
my man,
angel to me.
Yes.
Said, Rick, you need to take your SATs. And I was telling Gordon, I said, man, what's the SAT? Every single time he saw me, he said, Rick, have you taken your SATs? He said, if you're going to go to college, you need to take your SATs. Every single time, man, I would dodge him. I said, oh, man, it's Gordon. And he said, Rick, I see you over there. Did you take your SATs? And I finally took my SAT, bombed it, of course. But you take the SAT.
Right.
But it changes. And this is a point. Every little thing changes the trajectory of your life. Every little thing. So pay attention to every little thing that happens, because it happens for a reason. And so I said, well, okay, I took my SAT, bombed it. So I said, I want to go to MIT. And so I applied for MIT. And of course, my SATs was like 0.
Kind of like mine, but go ahead.
But every little thing changes the trajectory of your life. And, we've always been positive. And so when you're positive, you attract positivity. And so because I bombed MIT, I said, well, let me try the University of Lowell, which is considered the poor man's MIT.
Wow.
And I was accepted into a summer program at the University of Lowell. And a summer program where, that's why you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep being positive. It was a special program where they brought over 100 inner city kids to start before freshman year. We had a summer program where they brought at least 100 kids in to teach them, to introduce them to science and math and all those preparatory courses before starting the school year. Man, it was a party summer. It was a party summer. And 5 years later of a 4-year program, I graduated as a plastics engineer.
I can't even spell plastics.
Commissioned as a lieutenant in the United States Air Force 5 years later. While at the university, a founder of the Society of Black Engineers, which is an NSBE organization, back in 1978, founded the chapter at the college. And since then, I actually went to a reunion a year or so ago. Over 200 families, over 200 engineers, families.
Wow.
Affected.
That is phenomenal.
Man, that's why you do what you do with what you have. And I still didn't know engineering. I don't even know how I got out, but my social skills got me through college because I got involved in everything.
Awesome. Now, Rick, before we go any further, I got to get my co-host Mike in because he got something to say. Go ahead, Mike. Do the damn thing.
So first of all, Rick.
My man, Holy Family. Mike, who got the crossover and the finger roll.
Michael sets these very odd expectations every time he introduces me to someone. So I have to kind of raise my game on some of this stuff. So, one of the threads, Rick, that has occurred with Michael's podcast, and this I think has been sort of happenstance, that it's always talking about some level of achievement. It's always talking about some level of mentorship, right? So, and to your point, as far as what you just explained, as far as your path, right? And Michael and I have chatted about this a couple of different times where it's never a straight line, right? It has many turns to it, has many twists to it, but your level of perseverance and being able to, as a young person, being able to see the opportunity that was in front of you. I don't know if you did at the time, right? I think you did a little bit, that you saw what was in front of you from Holy Family, what was being offered in that path. And that's one of the pieces, I think, just sort of a societal piece that I think we're missing today, right? It's creating those opportunities for young people, right? And trying to give them some guidance as to what's really taking place. I just went through an interview today with someone who is looking for a job someplace, and I was trying to help them as far as what they needed to do, as far as here are the 5 core things I'm thinking you need to really go do. And part of that is just getting educated, right? Getting out there and networking, joining some groups, even though you may not be qualified at this point to actually participate, but just start to learn the language, learn the terminology, meet some people, find out where you have common interests, right? So I think that's where you come down. If you could expand upon that, and in today's real world, as far as what's really taking place, and what are some of those things that you bring forward in your life that can actually be addressed today?
I'm a community builder, is what I am. And that's just based on my journey, my experience, my understanding, my social skills, my awareness, and my desire to serve. See, like, you got a desire to serve, both you guys, a desire to serve, a desire to get involved. And a lot of things have happened. And I've been running with awareness, Mike, since we've talked way back when on Chancery Street.
Uh-huh.
Me catching you coming down from the third floor. And that's just and we've talked. So I've had an awareness for quite some time, but I didn't know the path and the journey.
Right.
So just being a positive person is the first step, and seeing the positive side of life versus the negative side of life. I've always understood that I'm creating my future, that I do have a role and a part to play in this. And without even actually knowing it, in writing the script of what I want to see have happen. Getting to your question, because I'm also a marketplace minister. I know, Mike, you showed the $1,000 bonus, and yeah, they paid me over $1 million+ in travel. And one of the things that I'm blessed with is I go to the top of every system because of the positive attitude, because of my New Bedford background. We from New Bedford, man.
Yes.
We know how to survive. We know how to make things happen. We know how to love people, like really love people. One of the most important things a young person today, because in my marketplace ministry piece, I talk to people about identifying their purpose in life. What is your purpose? What is the reason you were born? Why is the reason you are here on this planet? What are the gifts, talents, and skills do you possess? Your gift is the thing that you do better than anybody else without any effort. What gift do you have? Your money that you want to make is in your gift. Your perseverance is when you walk in that gift. Your importance, your significance lies in the gift and the purpose. Talking to a young person and walking them through to help them identify what their gift is, what your purpose is, that you're here to actually serve and offer something to humanity. What is that? You both are offering something to humanity, and you're serving in your gift to do that. And your gift will open doors for you. Your gift will bring you before important people. People operate outside their gift. I help them identify that gift. I help them clarify that purpose. And one of the most important things a person can do is understand the vision that they have. Albert Einstein says, your imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions. What vision do you have of your success? Because they see it. Even if it's just, I was listening to something on Kirk Franklin, and he was saying as a child, he was adopted, and he didn't have any friends, and he would go up to the rooftop and he would have a conversation with God. He had a vision. Your vision, your imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions. He's living out that. I could take a person and walk them through what is your purpose, what is your gift, what is the vision. Write it down. Write it down. Because if you don't write it down, it's not a contract. when you write it down as a contract, and I guarantee you it will come to pass just like you write it down. Now, once you've written it down, you're looking for things along the path, along the journey to confirm it, as you've written it down. And your people will start to come. If you need money, money will come. If you need situations. And so that has been my life journey all my life, is understanding the vision, understanding the gifts that I operate in. I didn't know anything about engineering. Mike, when you was reading all those accomplishments, that wasn't me. I partied in college. I partied in college 99.9%. What I have is, and I had to, once I graduated and I saw that, man, how did I do that? I was part of, when I went to the military, we launched the first GPS satellite that people are using on their phone today. I led the team, part of the team, the mission control team, to launch the very first GPS satellite, son of New Bedford. Very first GPS satellite. When the Korean airliner was shot down over Russia because it wandered into Russia airspace, President Reagan at the time says, let's open up this signal, because it was for the military. He said, let's open up this GPS signal and give it to the world. And there we are today. Son of New Bedford, GPS, launched the first GPS satellite. We have a whole constellation up there now. And I look back on that, but I'm always in the right place at the right time. That's a declaration that a person can actually make in their journal. I'm always in the right place at the right time. But if I were to answer that question, Mike, I would just say, what is your purpose? See, that gives a person a foundation to work from. Many times people will charge off wanting to change the world without understanding who they are first. That is the foundation. Education is neither here nor there. When a person is working in their gift, they don't need anything to drive them. Now, education checks the block, fills the square, and they want to do that. Nothing against school. But I can't say that my education got me to where I am. My education really just shows certifications and qualifications and all that. What got me to where I am is really prayer. Truth be told.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
But I would say purpose, vision, understanding your gifts and talents is the foundation. And from there, you can go anywhere.
Wow. Now, Rick, before we get into what y'all basically doing now and how you are paying it forward, of course, I got to have my co-host, Mike, interject because, like I said, he keeps me in line. Mike, you got anything to add to that?
Well, I do, real quick. That's pretty insightful, because one of the things that I've been challenged with, in not to go long on my stuff, but sort of finding purpose in my career, right? As far as what I wanted to, where I ended up and how I ended up there, which is, again, not a straight line. And that's sort of what I was trying to communicate to this person today, was find something that you really enjoy, as opposed to I'm trying to find a job that defines me, right? And I think it's greater than that, right? It's greater than trying to find your career which defines you. And was a little difficult for me to articulate for someone that has actually come to me for the first time, and actually for some mentorship to some level. And that's something I want to explore further for myself, as far as being able to create that guidance. And Michael, that's one of the things that I'm challenged with today, as far as trying to write, right? Trying to complete what I put out in front of me, is facing some of that stuff where, again, not a straight line. Some of it's a little tough for me to get down on paper and acknowledge, right? But that's, to Rick's point, I think that's part of your path. That's part of how it defines you, and it sort of, puts you in a situation where you have to account for those things, as far as who you are and how that's been something that has been fundamental to you and how you've developed. And I look at that pretty strongly today. Yes, the athletics are one thing. The relationships, Michael, that you and I have talked about that have come from that, right? Those things are pretty strong. And I still rely on those things, and I still use those as feeders and reference points for myself to kind of check myself on different occasions. And that has been really, really helpful for myself. And my wife, my dad sort of obviously play major roles in those types of things, and being able to have them available to actually be there for that.
Right.
So
society plays tricks with your mind. And if a person is not careful, society will define who you are. And so it's a continual battle. And that's why purpose and vision and understanding your gifts and your talents and your skills are so vital and important, because society will say, no, you are this, no, you are that. And if you don't have that as a foundation, you can't even talk. Society says, shut up. You have nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing by, like, I've never played by societal rules, thank God, because society will say you can't. But bypassing the approval of man is something you're able to do once you understand who you are. And because society will pigeonhole you. And we know, coming from New Bedford, society will say, you can't get out of New Bedford. Not that you want to get out, but you can't do this in New Bedford. You're from the West End, you can't do this. You're from the South End, you can't do that.
True.
You're not supposed to do that.
Right.
The accomplishments that I have, if I listen to society and the rules of New Bedford, I would not have achieved any of the things I've achieved.
Right. True that. Absolutely.
I would have been afraid. A lot of people don't realize nobody tells you no, but you. Because if you have to ask, society says, no, you can't do that. We're going to build a center in New Bedford. And it's evolving. And Mike, you have a role to play in this.
We can talk about that a little later, but go on. Go on.
And so it's evolving on what it is. But one of my paths in my journey is you choose what you want to do, and it comes to pass. You may not see how it's going to work. You may not see how I'm going to graduate high school. Or you may not see how I'm going to go to college. Money is not even a factor. As a believer, faith is the currency of the believer. Money is not even a factor. There's nothing external to you that holds you back but you. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Rick, that's why I wanted you on the show, because, yeah, we do sports and we talk basketball, football, but there's more to life than sports. And, my producer allows me to do shows like this because they know how much of an impact it can make. And I've done interviews with celebrities, the whole nine. I think this may be one of the most impactful shows that can help others. That's why I'm honored to have you. I mean, you're 6'11", all that, but I want you to share the impact that you have on others.
Well, in sports, if somebody tells you no, the people who are superstars in sports don't listen to the clutter. They don't listen to the noise. They don't listen to the people you tell you no. Every achiever has to overcome, no matter what your place is. If it's sports, you have to overcome the naysayers. It's because everybody's trying to get in your mind.
Absolutely.
Try to get in somebody's mind, that frees them up. That applies to life. You figure the majority of people in New Bedford, if you use the sports analogy, someone has gotten into their mind to freeze them up on the stage.
That is true.
Stage. Oh, by the way, do you see behind me those certificates you gave me?
Hey, well deserved, my man. Well deserved.
Thank you, sir. But someone has gotten into their mind. And whether you want to be successful in sports, in life, in family, it's imperative that others on the outside do not define who you are. See, that's why it's important to write down what you want. Here's who I am. If a young person's listening to me right now, write down, hey, no, here's what I see for my life. Here's where I'm going. Here's why I'm here, my purpose. Here's my gift. I've always been good at da 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 da. People tell me I deal with people. I'm a leader. I'm a counselor. Folks are always coming to me with their problems. Whatever that gift is, write it down and take some internal inflection. Reflect on internally. Who am I? What do I want? Nothing can be withheld from a person who actually does what I'm saying right now. I am living proof. The travel business has paid me over $1 million+. I'm not that good. Here's where my strength is. My strength is defining what I want and allowing the situations to come to me. When I left my 6-figure job in IT, I left the job and the Lord said, hey, time to leave. You can't get anything else from that. Go into the community. I go into the community.
Mm-hmm.
It was just in time for Katrina back in 2005.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I lived in Colorado Springs, and we had 1,500 people flee New Orleans and the Gulf Coast, and they came to Colorado Springs, Colorado. I went to a city hall meeting, minding my own business. I happened to say something, but I had gone into the community, and the CEO of the United Way asked me to help integrate these 1,500 folks into our community. And so they gave me the keys to the city, and we got them jobs, we got them houses, we got them everything they needed, food, shelter, we got their kids in school. And I was like, wow. And, but you just end up in those places when you got a plan for your success of who you are, who you see you are. All those things will find you. People operate outside of that, and so nothing finds them. But it doesn't matter if you're locked down in New Bedford. Doesn't matter where you are. You go so far when you've got a vision and you're driven by your vision and by your purpose.
Before we get into your business, Mike, Rick, Mike, do you want to interject anything before we go any further with 611?
So I'm sort of looking at this from the outside a little bit because I didn't grow up in New Bedford.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Acushnet.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
You came to Holy Family. Were you living in Acushnet?
I did.
Oh, wow.
So our stories are not that much different as far as the Father Driscoll impact, and I won't go any further than that.
Right.
As far as what took place there. And I've not shared this with Michael either, so I'm not sharing with anybody else as far as how that connection took place. But I do recognize, right? And I was able to recognize that.
Thank you for all you did for New Bedford. For Holy Family, though. I recognize that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'll share a very quick story, and then I will move off of me. Michael knows this, if things don't happen the way they happened for me at Holy Family, there is a very high likelihood that I never meet my wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Just the way it broke. And I am very much in the sidecar of what took place in the universe at that time. And it just, I had the opportunity, just real quick, I had the opportunity to share that story with Jack and Briga before he passed.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Jack.
And he
by the way, how's your son doing?
I think he's doing okay. I haven't connected with him in a bit, but I think he's doing okay.
Okay.
So again, another quick story. So this was at a fundraiser for Jack, right before he was ending his activity with the school committee. And I was leaving. I was with my dad, and I was leaving. And we had said hello. We talked briefly, and we talked more on the way out. And I started to tell him that story, and he made me stop so he could bring his wife into the story so she could hear this.
Wow.
Because he was mystified over the fact. He goes, Michael, he goes, never mind all the accomplishments you had athletically. He goes, that's your story. That's your story.
Mhm.
So sort of looking at this from the outside, and we're coming from a very small area. I'm not from New Bedford, but I'm from that area, southeastern Massachusetts, and some of those struggles, as to your point, Rick, as far as what takes place with people, right? And sort of those, and I always looked away, right? I wanted to do more. I wanted to step away, and I wanted to be able to come out of that, because I could see the limitations that existed. And to your point also, right? Some of those are self-inflicted that occurred. And I had the really good opportunity, really through my dad, to really have those eyes, when my eyes would become wide open in what was happening in Massachusetts, up around Boston, and New England, and not being afraid to step out.
Nice.
And I'm one of the few in my family that comes out of the area, because I wanted opportunity. I wanted to experience those opportunities that I thought would present themselves as I grew as a person and grew as a professional. And they happened, right? So to your point, I think is, not being afraid to see that and not being afraid to step away. But I also know, right, that there are real limitations that exist. And one of the things, just another quick story, and I'll stop talking. One of the healthcare organizations that I spent time with is in a tough area of Boston. And I never understood why children in those difficult areas weren't able to come out. I'm like, well, you go to school, go to college, get all these grants, do what you got to do, and get out. And that doesn't happen, right? There are contributing factors that come into play with those families where those kids don't feel they can, right? They don't
Now,
want to.
let me interject something.
Sure.
So, in that situation, and I want you to hear me, who's listening to this show and who hears this show, nothing can stop your dream. Your dream is your passport to your future, and nothing can stop it. Absolutely anything external to you cannot stop your dream. Society is going to say, don't even try it. People are going to say, you got to be crazy. But absolutely, environment has nothing to do with your dream. If you do this, if you write down, here's what I want to do, write it down. I guarantee you, fold it up, tuck it away. You don't even have to look at it again, okay? Fold it up, tuck it away. Here's what I'm going to do when I'm 10. Here's what I'm going to do when I'm 20. Here's my life when I'm 30. I don't care what background you come from. Now, here's the key. You got to write it down. Write the vision, make it plain. Though it tarry, yet shall it come. You got to write it down. I don't care if you're in the inner city. I don't care if you're in a rural community. I don't care if you come from nowhere. It doesn't matter. Nothing can stop your dream. Your dream is the passport to your future. And I'm a living witness. All this stuff happens for me because I'm saying this is what I want to have happen. You are the author of your life. You write the script. If somebody is not supposed to be in my script, guess what? I write them out the script. You are writing your life story. And if you can believe that, you can have it. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that. So just from my experiences in trying to learn what really takes place, following what you just said, Rick, as far as having that ability to actually create that for another person, that's where I think and you know this, I'm repeating what you just said, is that hurdle is trying to actually articulate that to yourself, right? And,
True.
And so and I know we're talking about some societal things and the environmental issues that exist in and around those family dynamics doesn't create that, right? So it takes that person.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it takes that person to I think, right? So how I've looked at this to a certain extent is somewhat stepping outside yourself and trying to look at yourself and say, okay, do I have the ability? And I think one of the things that I've been trying to process as I look at mentorship and those types of things of the goals that I may envision or what I look at for someone is not what they're going to have, right? That's not going to be attached to them emotionally as far as what that vision is, as far as success, right? I think it comes down to different things at different points in your life. So the tools you're talking about, I think, are great as far as being able to actually put those in place and start to create, and I keep on using the word dynamics, as far as how that actually can bring somebody into that conversation and having the courage to really do that, right? Because I do think, because I do think those things that exist within those families, sometimes we're talking about people not stepping away, not coming out of New Bedford, not trying to, and again, my path is different as far as what I was looking for, what I wanted in my life. That's where I've experienced that in those groups where it's been very, very difficult for them, for those families, their kids, their nephews, their nieces to actually have that ability to really think like that. Now, there is this one particular health center I'm referring to has a charter school attached to them, right? So they're trying to create some level of acknowledgement of success, right? You were successful here, right? That should be a learned behavior as far as what this can do for you and where it can actually place you, because that organization, that board of directors had recognized we need to do more here, right? There's not enough being done. It's not that positive voice. It's not that positive reinforcement that is part of the culture.
Ooh, that's good. Wow. Yeah. I mean, but you know what, though? And I always come back to this. Like, no one has a say-so in what I do. I don't care who you are. You know, this is what I want to do. I write it down. I make it plain. And then it starts to evolve, unfold. And no person is coming in to change the trajectory of my future. It's my future. Like you said, it's my story. When a person understands that I'm actually writing the script.
You're the author. You are the author.
I'm the author. You know, we was in Colorado Springs, and we just moved down to Charleston. I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, man, I didn't know that. Wow.
I live in Charleston, South Carolina on a military base. As a retiree. I didn't know that you could actually move on base as a retiree. And it's an open base, a 4-bedroom home. And because, you know, Brenda's family's from here, and she's got land here. And so we're going to build, but we're not being forced. And so back in 2019, this is the power of vision. Back in 2019, we're like, we don't know where we want to actually build. I wonder if I can move on base. Inspirations and being able to pay attention to inspirations that come to you. So I said, hey, let's go on base and see if they let retirees. This is back in 2019. Fast forward, you got COVID. And then last year, they called us and said, hey, are you guys still interested? You know, July last year. And they said, yeah. They called us this past the 24th of July and said, hey, we've got a 4-bedroom home. Do you want it? We're like, yeah. You have 2 days to make a decision. 2 days to make a decision. We're like, yeah. See, if you don't know the plan, you don't know what's good and what's not. You know, you can't make decisions on, you know, is this person that I meet, is it good for me? You don't understand where you are on your journey if you're not writing the script of your journey and you don't know the path. And so when they said, 2 days to make a decision, and this was the 4th, so like the 1st of August, it says, well, the move-in date is on the 31st of August.
Oh, wow.
30 days, right?
Right.
But when it's part of that plan, you may not see how it's going to work. Everything fell in place totally. You know, we got rid of stuff, and we had a 5,200 square foot home back in 2018 that we right-sized once we left in 2018, so we moved into a townhome. And so we had gotten rid of a bunch of stuff. And even here, we had to get rid of a bunch of stuff. But it was part of the plan. And so we got rid of the stuff and the things that we said we can buy, let's just give it to Goodwill. We gave so much great quality stuff to Goodwill. Packed up a 16-foot Penske truck and hit the road and came sight unseen. But knowing that you got a vision, knowing that you got a plan. When we got down here, we was like, this is what I saw.
Wow.
And now Brenda's has her own office. I've got my own office, and it's just the two of us in a 4-bedroom home. And
Now, Rick, which leads me into, you know, you had gone in the Air Force. I went to college, and we didn't really touch base. And then through Facebook, we kind of hooked up. And I was checking out what you were doing. Didn't really understand, but I kept looking and seeing how successful you have become and your grind again. Now, I want the folks to know exactly what gave you the, I guess, the idea to start your own company, and what was the transition like, and let the people know exactly, maybe they may be able to empower themselves as well. That's kind of why I want you here as well, besides being 6'11". But go ahead.
That goes a long way.
I know.
So before you go there, Rick, one thing, and I don't think Michael included this. So my birthday is June 9th.
Oh man, you are the man too.
I'm sorry, Maya. You close. You close.
Hey, so
You close.
understand.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So you overstand.
Yeah.
You overstand.
So I wanted to get that out because I was teasing Michael last night. I said, you
Yeah,
have
did.
a bunch of Geminis on your show. I don't know how this happened.
Absolutely. Yeah. My apologies. Yeah, right.
So, okay, Key. Oh, Key. All right, Key. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead now. All right. I felt a little something. All right.
I'm gonna have to do some Google later on. How many Geminis in one room is okay?
I don't know.
That's taking over. Now, the vision, as I'm saying, is the driver for everything. So I'm working 80 hours a week on my job in IT, corporate America, developing satellite scheduling systems, not leaving when the kids are asleep, coming home when the kids are asleep. Just, I hear this voice. Quit your job, go into the community. Of course, Brenda would be like, I didn't hear the voice. I hear this voice, and I disregard it for a year. And I go from golden boy on the job to golden heel on the job, kind of walking in that kind of disobedience path where you're not in your path. You know that feeling when you're just not there, and so things aren't clicking. And so February 7th, 2005, I said to my boss, I'm done. He said, don't you care about your family? I said, that's why I'm done. And he said, okay, I'm going to the community. And so I went into the community. Now, of course, I'm a believer. And so the Lord is kind of directing my path, and I'm trying to figure it out. Go into the community, don't ask for any money. Just go and serve your gifts, your talents, your skills. Serve on boards, serve on commissions, just give up yourself. All the things that you've learned, the community needs that. Serve it in the community. I'm like, okay, but I probably need to make some money. He said, I'll take care. And we was in the travel business, but we didn't know it was a business. I mean, we just travel wholesale instead of retail, write it off on your taxes, get paid to go. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so I go into the community, I start looking at these, and so I start seeing the needs of the community. We need money in our communities. And the sad thing about it, the money is there, but it's being redirected to other folks. They don't put the money where it really needs to go. Mm-hmm. And so, different places, the pockets and where it needs to go. If you're working at the grassroots level, you begin to see where the money really needs to go, because you've got people that are working without the money, that if they just had the money. And so the Lord opened my eyes to the layout of the community. and how every community works and how the nonprofit community is running everything, even beyond the business. And the reason that is the business people all serve on the boards in the nonprofit community, and they make decisions that affect the whole community.
Okay.
And so I start seeing how things work and the gatekeepers and da-da-da-da. Like I can go into any community and be successful because I understand the layout of communities and how they work. And so when I'm seeing all this, and the Lord says, pay attention to what I'm showing you. And I said, well, how do I make money though? And all of a sudden I look over at these guys in the travel business making millions. And I'm like, and throwing pennies to the community. I'm like, man, I heard said earlier, I go to the top of every system. I said, let me go over here and investigate and see what these guys are doing. They know something I don't. I'm just using it and traveling and having fun in life. But let me go and see how I can harness and redirect wealth to come into the community from this source. These guys are making money, but they're not in the community. And so I said, okay, time out community, I'll be back. And so I go over here and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I teach, I learn, I study, I build, you know how we do. We understand. And I started understanding what they were doing in the travel business. And I started building systems to train and to teach people how to work in the travel business. And I start calling forth and writing down in the script, I need people who understand business to help me. So all these people start coming out of nowhere and helping me that understand business. I start building a team. I build effective, productive teams. And they started coming and the business started making all kind of money. I'm not even there. I put a structure in place. I'm down in the community volunteering. The business starts making all kind of money. And I'm overriding everything, right? And I'm in the community serving.
Right.
Where I'm supposed to be. Not even in the business. And so the Lord brought people to do the things that they are assigned to do while I was walking in my purpose in the community. That's why it's so important to be in your purpose, because everything else is provided. The money you need, the people you need, the resources you need. And people don't have the courage to do that, because that was a major move. Leaving a 6-figure job, going to the community, don't ask for any money, just serve, I'll take care of the business. Who does that?
Right.
And so the business, we made $650,000 in the business. And I'm not even there. I'm serving. I'm overriding everything. So the business has a compensation plan and a structure that allows you to create residual income and to override and to do all those things. And I was like, oh, that's how that works. And so I'm serving and United Way. And so what I didn't know is, and this is when I left my job, February 7th, 2005, I didn't know August 2005, Katrina was going to happen. So I was in the community when Katrina happened, prior to, so that when it happened, they said, Rick, we want you to do this. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, but the business started allowing me to be freed up. And so in the marketplace, that's where the marketplace ministry actually came from, to be freed up personally to do your purpose, to be able to go into the community and to understand using tools how wealth transfers. I use the travel business to transfer wealth, to build a community, and to free me up to live a life and to keep Brenda happy. And then to walk in your vision. What is the vision? And that's where the ministry, the marketplace ministry was birthed. When I did something personally and it happened. And so that was 2005. Brenda is a real estate broker. She had her own company. Neither of us have gone back to work since 2005. And so I moved down to Charleston, not looking for a job, because I am the job.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
I am the job. And so, but that's the power of walking in your purpose,
right?
In your vision, so that beyond sports, because sports is 4 years max. And beyond sports, you transition.
Exactly.
You're prepared to transition. Right. The residual income that was created back then took me through the COVID time. where I was making money even with COVID. It goes beyond anything. And so, but that was the transition. So Surge 365 is the travel business. And Surge 365 is very, very powerful for a person who understands the power of vision, the power of teaching, and the power of tools. Surge 365 is a travel agency. Like the old travel agents have gone out of business. Everything is shifted online. So Surge 365 gives me access to the travel industry, travel training. So if a person wants to become a wedding destination specialist, a special needs specialist, a Bahamas specialist, all this training is free. So while people are going back to college and going into debt, and 2-4 years later and still can't get a job, it's a career opportunity in hospitality and tourism. Surge 365 is also a fundraising tool. So when I'm working with churches and organizations who are looking to raise money, Surge 365 has a link, a booking. Like everybody knows Expedia. They don't understand that when you go through Expedia, you're paying Expedia. Expedia in 2019, $98 billion. So the link in Surge 365 gives me access to that money to harness and redirect it. So I'll bring on board churches, and the churches will give out this free link to their congregation. And the congregation gives it out to the world on social media. People book through that link. They're able to save, when they book through the link, save up to 60%. 60% of what they save comes back to the organization or the owner of the Vortex. So if they save $100, $60 comes back to the organization. And so when I come in with my background, I'm like, nobody in the company even sees this. That's why it's so important to walk in your purpose and walk in what you're doing, because everything will make sense and how it fits to you. And so I'm like, hey, this is a great tool for fundraising. All these people in the church, all these people in organizations, all these people in nonprofits, they give out this free link. People save up to 60%. It's benefiting over the Expedia price. So Expedia actually sets the price for the public. And so the Vortex looks at that price when a person books and comes in up to 60% less. Man, see, folks don't understand the systems that are in place to keep people in bondage. And so, of course, me going into the community, I'm like, hey, what is the source of transferring wealth? This allows me to now transfer wealth. Then the third thing is a membership. So it's a travel agency, the link, and then an actual membership. And so I'm like, hey, I want to travel anyway. Travel wholesale. The membership allows me to travel wholesale. As concierge, I call and do things for me. But everywhere is wholesale. And everything is compared to the public price. And so it's now coming in here, right, saving a ton of money. Then the other thing that they added was a 7-day vacation stay. And so when a person's been a member for 12 months, free vacation, 3,000 locations around the world, 7 days, and you don't have to pay. And Brenda and I have used that. But not only that, we go on cruise. I've done 36 cruises. Before I came into the travel business, I never did a cruise. New Bedford, we don't do cruises.
No.
Joey Gonzalez is the only guy I know that does a cruise.
Right. Yeah, you about the only one.
Oh, and Sonny Boy.
Oh, Sonny, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, of course.
Disco cruise.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cruises. Man, I never even considered doing a cruise. We've done 36 cruises. In fact, we did a transatlantic crossing. Brenda because all the industry has free training. So she became a Commodore with Princess Cruises. And once you complete their training, it's free online. They give you a free cruise to now experience the product. So she found this 15-day Western Europe cruise that we went on, leaving out of Fort Lauderdale, Azores, Portugal, Spain, Paris, Stonehenge, free cruise. Now, the inside cabin was free. We upgraded and paid a little extra for the balcony.
Right.
You want to be on the balcony. You want to be on the inside cabin. And so what we're using the travel business for is a tool for community, to transfer wealth, a tool to have fun, and a tool for education. If I'm going to a location, I'll take the free training. And but it's worked out great. But that's the power of vision. When you have a vision, when you understand your purpose, everything you see in life has a place where it fits.
Wow. And Mike, before I hit up my man 611, you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I'm still processing a lot of what Rick has said.
I know, me too.
That's a lot of information to process relatively quickly. But
Let me give you another tidbit, another thing that the listeners need to know about success. If you get a chance, research PIE. That's not apple pie, but PIE, performance, image, and exposure. It's the secret to success in organizations. PIE, performance, image, and exposure. And fascinating because there's a percentage on performance. Performance, you gotta perform, even for like you guys in this job. You gotta know the basics. You gotta perform, but it's only 10%. Okay. Image, you gotta look the part to get the part. So image, 30%. But exposure is 60%. We have been taught to spend all our time on the 10% performance.
Right.
We get ulcers, we lose families, all of this, and it's only 10%. Those who know, like I'm sharing with you, we know that we fire the people that they're the first ones to let go, the performance fee people. Money, businesses, organizations make their money on the 30 and the 60. That's why a person I gave my life for this job, it's only 10%. I'll bring somebody in and replace you. The people that waltz in and get the promotion are the ones that understand the image. They're looking like, yeah. And that, and they're working with the boss, not to be a kiss up, but they're working with the boss. And those are the people that get promoted. Just as an understanding and teaching our young people that there is a method, there's how the system really works behind the scenes. And there's a hierarchy in so many different areas that's an unwritten language. And until a person actually understands the unwritten language. My son's a major in the Air Force. My daughter works for a major defense contractor. So I've taught them this. And so they understand how the system works.
Yes.
Our biggest problem is we don't even understand where the system starts or where it begins or where it ends. We have no idea of the game that we're playing. Now, who taught me? Just by living. So my job is now to pass on information.
Now, 611, unfortunately, I only have an hour on my show. I could talk to you for like 12. I could talk like 12 hours. Now, before we let you go, 611, this is going to go out to all New Bedford folks. So I want you to give, a little something for our people in New Bedford.
Man, we love you. You are loved. Everything that I've been talking about, write the vision, make it plain. Script your life. Nobody can stop you but you.
That's awesome. Mike, you got anything to add?
I have a bunch of things to add off of what Rick just said about.
I know. We could be here all night.
No, I know we can't go there, but no, we'll say that for another conversation. But no, Rick, it was great seeing you, great speaking with you, and thanks for all the valuable information. And I will be digging into pie tonight.
Man, you will be blown away. You will be blown away. And see, that's why I can go to any city, and I can be successful in any city. Because I understand the principles of success that have nothing to do with anybody around me. That's why I told Brenda one time. I said, Brenda, I don't even have to go outside the house to be successful.
That's amazing.
The principles, you're everywhere and nowhere.
That is amazing.
Like a spirit.
611, I'm so honored to have you on my show. But what I'd like you to do in the near future, can you come on again and talk about a couple of projects we got happening in the future?
I can. Anytime, man. Hey, appreciate you. Holy Family, Blue Wave, 611, June. Hey, key. Key is the key.
Exactly. Folks, I want to thank for tuning in to my show, Sports Corner with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network. I want to thank my co-host, my guy, Mike Semiao, and my very special guest, 6'11", Rick Reese, in the building. Rick, thank you so much. I love you, my brother. We'll be keeping in touch with you. God bless you, my friend.
You too.
Peace, y'all.
Hey, guys.
See you, everybody.